Hey folks, Nick here from Another BookTube channel, and today taking a look at some Mad Magazine, the free comic book day comic that they put out recently. To be upfront, I'm not really a Mad Magazine guy. I don't own many of them. I think I have one Mad back issue, um, and that's that's pretty much it. I appreciate the artistry and the level of artistry of the people that were working on it way back in the very beginning, like Jack Davis, Harvey Kurtzman. But humor comics in general were never something that I got super into. I've mentioned in the past that I was like a late in life comic reader. I didn't start until I was in my 20s, and by then I'd never gravitated towards humor comics in particular. A lot of superhero, a lot of horror, stuff like that, but not really humor. So I thought I would check this out because it was free, and I wanted to see what Mad Magazine was up to nowadays. And this ended up not being a very good uh, example of that or a way to figure that out because this is mostly reprints of older strips. There's some newer stuff in there, some I guess you would call modern, but the most recent one in here is from 2022, and I'm filming this in 2024. So they're leaning heavily on, I guess, some greatest hits from the past. It is an all superhero parody issue, as you can tell from the cover. I guess Mad is owned by DC nowadays, which I did not know or realize. So these are all going to be DC parodies, starting with the cover of Superman ripping his shirt, saying, "This is a job for, oh no, I'm already in costume." This is drawn by Kerry Callen, who has a lot of pieces in here that I actually really enjoyed. I got a couple of good chuckles out of Kerry Callen's work. This joke, this gag, I am sure I've seen somewhere else, though. I am, I could not tell you where, but I feel like I've definitely seen an example of like someone doing the Superman shirt rip, but they don't have anything on underneath. I don't know if it was, before or after this was drawn, but I feel like I've definitely seen that gag before. Kind of low hanging fruit. But let's take a look at the inside. Like I said, it's mostly reprints. This is a missed opportunity to me because this opening little half splash here is from originally published in 1955, written by Harvey Kurtzman, art by Jack Davis. And I would have loved to see more of this particular strip, and there's none. It's only this panel that they include. So that was a little unfortunate, but we get some Sergio Aragones, and I do like Sergio Aragones. He's a really fun cartoonist. His style is just really lively, and his character like proportions are always kind of like this on the bulkier, sillier side. Batman looks ridiculous. So this is great. I love seeing Batman in some ridiculous situations, trying to swoop in on this billboard and accidentally pulling it over, crushing a bunch of people, getting sunburn from the his cowl not covering that part of his face. I really like this one of him chasing a robber into a gala costume party, and then him very satisfied walking out with the first prize trophy. Silly stuff. Originally published in 1966. I think the colors are probably new by Carl Peterson. Batman Funnies. This is our first of several Kerry Callen pages that we'll see. I guess he has a regular piece where he takes DC heroes, puts them in the style of newspaper comic strips. So this top Harley one is in the style of Kathy. Batnuts is Peanuts, obviously. We got Farside and Calvin and Hobbes. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I love this Bruce and Selena Calvin and Hobbes parody. I'll read it. Of it's Batman swooping in. Catwoman, stop right there. Your thieving days are over. She responds, Batman, my dear, these paltry jewels aren't important. When will you admit we make the perfect couple? No, Selena, I could never give my love to a criminal. You are the real criminal. You've stolen my heart. And then it's interrupted by Alfred saying Master Bruce dinner is ready, and it cuts back to the reality of he's just playing with like a cat doll, and that is the perfect. That's a great Calvin and Hobbes strip. Like that's something that he would do with the spaceman. What was it, Spiff? Where he's lost in his imagination with that storyline, and then in the final panel, you get the cut back to reality of what's actually going on. And as for the style, Callen really they imitates the original styles very well. Like the Kathy lines are very different than the Bill Watterson lines, very different from the Peanuts lines. They look very much like the comics that they're parodying. It's not just him doing his own style, but using those characters. Like they actually look like it. This looks like Bill Watterson drew it to me. Maybe someone with a more trained eye could tell the difference, but I can't. Like that looks really good to me. Next page is a George Woodbridge of a super. This guy gave me a good chuckle of Superman saving this guy by pushing him out of the way of a falling safe. But the guy doesn't see the safe. He just thinks Superman's a jerk, and so he gets up and he pushes him over. Funny, quick gag. And I'm going to take this opportunity to tell a moderately interesting story about a weird connection I have to George Woodbridge. So settle in. Sorry if this doesn't interest you, but a few years back, there was this guy that used to live in my neighborhood. His name was Frank. Really cool guy, very nice. He kind of like a bohemian artist type. And he was a perpetual yard sale. Whenever the weather was warm throughout the year, he would be out with a bunch of crap on his front lawn. He would have people come into the house and just like and buy stuff from there if they wanted to too. It was like an older historical house. He was a super nice guy, and he had a storage unit full of stuff, and so he would constantly be putting out new stuff all the time. Me and my partner would go and like literally every weekend and get something new. And I noticed one day he had a bunch of Mad magazines and no other comics. So I asked him what the story was there, and he said he's good friends with either the niece or the daughter, I can't remember, of George Woodbridge. Mad magazine artist. I said, "Oh, cool." I didn't know George Woodbridge at the time. I looked into him, and apparently he was kicking it with like the Flegels, like Frank Frazetta, Al Williamson, Angelo Torres, Roy Krenkel. Like he was part of that little gang. We just don't know him very well because he didn't do a ton of comics work. He did Mad Magazine is what he's probably most known for, but he was mostly just like an illustrator. So he doesn't have a lot of that recognition of a lot of other people. So cool. Okay, this guy's got a connection to George Woodbridge. One day, I'm digging through his book stack, and I see this book here, Al Williamson by James Van Hise, and great cover, catches my eye. Obviously, Al Williamson's great. And I flip through it, and I see, oh, cool. It's got like interviews with people about Al Williamson. It's got some of his comics in here in black and white. So, okay, that's neat. How much is it? $2? Sure, here's $2. I'll take it. I get it home, and I'm flipping through it more, and I see that there is an interview in here with George Woodbridge right there. So I said, "Oh, cool." So you know what? This may be, just like part of George Woodbridge's collection. Wouldn't that be kind of neat? Or at least the daughter had it, or the niece, or whoever that was. So I open the book up to the first page to kind of read it. I didn't notice this at the yard sale, but on the front paper here, it's signed for George W. with many thanks for the kind words, Al W. So not only is this confirmed to be George Woodbridge's personal copy of this book, it was personalized to him and signed by Al Williamson. So that's how I got an Al Williamson signed book for $2 at a yard sale. All right, let's move on with the comic, because that's what we're really here for. We have A Spy vs. Spy by Antonio Prohius. Oh, this is another one. I knew Spy vs. Spy, even though I never read Mad Magazine, because I used to watch Mad TV reruns on Comedy Central when I was younger. And so Spy vs. Spy was always like the best portion of that show, which, in hindsight was probably not very funny. I grabbed this book from a not a thrift shop, an antique warehouse. It was at a booth there. It's a collection of Spy versus Spy comics in this trade paperback format, and some of these are really funny. They're great, but I have to sit down and actually read through that thing one day. Another Kerry Callen. We got a Garfield comic, more Peanuts. I don't know this style down here. If you know, let me know. But I can't spot that. But again, the style looks really on brand. Here's another Kerry Callen. This is more of a complete strip. It covers 3 pages. It's Bring Your Sidekick to Work Day. Superman forgot about it, and he's panicking because all the other Justice Leaguers brought their kids' sidekicks with them, and he has to entertain them now. And that's stressful to have to do. He doesn't know how to handle kids. And they're all saying out-of-pocket stuff and revealing secrets about their superheroes. So, Kid Flash, was that Speedy? I don't know. I don't know the Flash too well. I think it's Kid Flash. Thought Superman would look different. And Superman says, "Why? You heard I'm an alien?" And he says, "No, an asshat." I guess. And then Flash starts panicking, like, "No, stop talking." Bruce is hiding out in the corners, and Dick Grayson says he does that when he's gassy. Donna Troy gives up that Wonder Woman has to pluck her unibrow and mustache all the time. So, funny stuff. Superman says, "You know what? It's I just remembered it's a holiday. Everybody, we get to go home early." And the final piece is the supervillains come, and it was Bring Your Kid to Work Day for them as well. So they've got their little sidekicks with them, including, is that Gaggy? I think his name is Gaggy the Clown. More Sergio Aragones. This is more modern Sergio Aragones because it's making fun of the Zack Snyder Justice League, including. This scene was hysterical in the movie when Wonder Woman saves the bank full of children who went to a bank for their school trip, and she just murders a whole bunch of dudes and blows them up, and then has a really inspirational message where she tells the girls, like, you can be anything you want to be. Like, it's so ham-fisted and stupid. Zack Snyder's awful. That's funny. This I don't really care for. This is Don Martin, another one. This is from 1979. I appreciate the cartooning in it, but the jokes themselves just do not land for me. They're just, there's nothing to me particularly clever about them. They're kind of just spelled out for you. So I don't know. They're kind of lame to me. That being said, oh no, this is an Aragones. So yeah, this one I think is a great strip, because Superman Clark Kent notices somebody's getting mugged, runs to a phone booth, gets out of his Clark Kent clothes, leaves them behind, saves the day as Superman, goes to retrieve his clothes, but this bum from the second panel that saw him go into the phone booth has stolen his clothes and is now walking out with a nice new fresh looking suit. Good for him, but funny gag. More Kerry Callen funnies. Another good but not as good Calvin and Hobbes one there, where Billy Batson has the hiccups, tries to see if saying Shazam will get rid of them, but he hiccups in the middle of it, so he ends up only half Shazammed out. Another Kerry Callen. I guess for Modern Mad, they lean heavily on this Kerry Callen. This one was okay. I got a laugh right at the end. Black Adam tries to join the Justice Society. They're making fun of his name. They're making fun of his outfit. And the good gag here is that they set up that they have Adam on the table, the superhero Adam, the little tiny guy. And Black Adam gets frustrated, slams his hand on the table at the end, flies out, and then there's just the dazed and stars from the Atom on the table saying, "Please call an ambulance." Art here by Herman Mejia. This is an interesting art style. I like this. because it's just so extreme. Like all the veins are so extreme, the way that the faces are contorted are so extreme. The likenesses are pretty good too. You got a George Bush there that it looks like a pretty good caricature of him. So that's pretty well done. This is an absolutely horrifying image of Lois Lane, who's had a ton of plastic surgery done. Uh, and then back to Sergio Aragones with movie scenes that we would like to see. More of a modern one, not quite as good. Another Don Martin that I don't think is particularly funny. I like this Kerry Callen one here, and I've seen this one outside of this magazine, so I think this image got picked up and was very popular. I would just see this floating around on social media because it's a funny one. Batman pretending to be Superman's mustache on the billboard. Good, fun gag. Another Don Martin on this side, which again, good cartooning. Just like the punchline here is that he's lifting all a bunch of heavy things, and then he goes to the doctor. The doctor tells him, "I'll give it to you straight. You have a super hernia." Yeah, all right. Back to the funnies section. Another Calvin and Hobbes of Aquaman and a shark, and I really love the way that he's able to capture the style. It just looks so good. These are easily my favorite part of this, other than some of these really good Sergio Aragones classics. Superman trying to stop a train here. Look at the detail on the train, or just like the amount of hatching on it compared to everything else, which is kind of just either a white or gray value. It's a lot of fun. And then this, fantastic page. The mayhem, the carnage, the difference in the coloring on the I don't know, trains. That's not the caboose. That's the caboose. And the difference in the train cars. Super fun. And we wrap up with this by, who's this? Pete Woods. This is What If Batman Were Actually 85 Years Old? It's just Batman and his villains as old people. It's okay. Like there's no more, they can't have fights anymore, so the action sequences are like them playing chess and capturing pieces. It ends with Batman and Joker being recruited by this agent, this talent manager who wants them to just do like stand-up shtick where they just insult each other on stage for people. It's all right. Not my favorite. There is one more here. Who's this? John Caldwell, Everyday Pet Peeves of Second-Rate Superheroes. Another pretty okay one. Not my favorite. Not my favorite art style. Not my favorite jokes. Oh, you know what? Let's do the fold-in. We got Al Jaffe here. Surprised fashion experts hope no permanent damage is done by this year's costly design flop, but who will assume responsibility for the fiasco? Let's see. It's it's the blue suit Superman. That's funny. Oh yeah, I guess you don't even really. You just do that. You can really see it put it together. But all right, there you go. That's Mad Magazine's Free Comic Book Day. That's what they're up to nowadays, leaning heavily on the older stuff. If you're reading Mad Magazine today, let me know how it is. Let me know if it's actually still funny. It's hard to get a laugh out of me with a humor comic, but there are some in here that actually did get me to at least chuckle. So I'll consider that a win. And for a free comic book, this was actually a really fun one. A lot of different cartooning styles, and just something interesting. And I hope some kids picked this up on Free Comic Book Day, and I hope it gave them some joy as well. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today, but now it's time to get back to reading.